Hello, Leo. My name is Nigel, and you have found Alchemy. This is your March 2025 reading. Okay, let's get started right away. You have pulled the Four of Wands. Lots of fire energy. This is very joyful fire energy, right? This is one of the most positive cards in the deck. It symbolizes success, celebration, a happy home. And home could be a person, place, or thing. Now, it pays to at least touch on the fact that it came out in reverse when I was dealing out the cards. If you'd like to go back and look, you're more than welcome to. I do not take the overarching card in reverse, but I do take note of it. Happiness might be elusive for you this month. It might go back and forth. Let's just see what happens. Let's see what the rest, how everything connects. But basically, it's Venus and Aries energy, okay? You have the Tamed card here, and it says, I've got you where I want you. Resistance is useless. This could be you, Leo, trying to tame someone, trying to keep them under control. But this also might be someone else in your energy trying to do that to you. And I think that is probably more Leos than not. It's, Leos generally don't try to do that with other people. I mean, there's exceptions to every rule. And that's why I'm leaving both of those possibilities out there. But I do think that there may be someone in your energy here who may be trying to control you. I don't see anything nefarious here, but it just pays to mention here. And it says you have Arabian Nights. And the Arabian Nights is very, it says causes others to find you more exciting, interesting, stimulating, appealing, and helps attract new friends and lovers. So there may be someone using their wiles to try to keep you in a certain place, okay? Again, I'm not saying anything bad about the person yet. I don't see anything bad here, but it just so happens, right? Someone may be trying to tame you. Somebody may be trying to use their sexuality or their allure to do that. It could be that someone's insecure around you. I mean, it could be any of those things. But before we get too far in the weeds, I want to just move on a little bit. You have rhodonite here as a stone, and it says, my mental and emotional bodies are balanced. I am attracting, nurturing people. This is the compassion stone. So there may be, and like I said, feel free to flip this energy, Leo, but there may be someone who you feel a lot of compassion for in your energy. There may be, for very few of you, you may be feeling a little needy as far as compassion. Like I said, I'm just not feeling that for the bulk of you, though. So there may be someone in your energy that is feeling needy, that is feeling like they're trying to keep you in a certain way, something like that. Let's see. Where should we move from here? Let's move on to this, and then we'll do your astrology, okay? You have here two cards you pulled, the Morrigan and Thetis. These are beautiful cards, but let's look at the Morrigan first, right? So she's Gaelic. Let me see if that could focus for you. She's Gaelic, and her name, the Morrigan, translates from Gaelic as the Phantom Queen. She's the Celtic goddess of war, death, destiny, closely related to Scorpio, Pluto energy. Imagine, with this goddess here, imagine you have been handed the book of your life, and you've sat down and read everything from cover to cover that will happen to you until death. Life would lose its luster, ultimately. Mystery is crucial. And even though at times you may feel lost, you would have no time to test yourself if you knew everything before it was going to happen. You have not met all the people who will love you. And that's not to say that the person you're with is not going to be the last. Very well could be the last person. But all the people that will love you in your lifetime, you have not met. You haven't met your children. Many of you haven't anyway. Haven't met your children yet. There's so many things that are yet to happen to you. And you haven't discovered everything that will bring you joy yet. So there is a sort of leaving behind certain things that you may have thought was very important and exchanging them for new dreams. Let's see if we could piece this together, because you did choose two goddesses. Now, you have Thetis here. And Thetis is the Greek goddess of the sea. She has the power of shapeshifting. So she can, and that sort of goes with what we said, if you think about it, right? Leaving behind one version of yourself, exchanging it for another, changing shapes into something else. It's sort of release yourself from the shackles of what previously has shaped you. Use beliefs as stepping stones. There is no previous beliefs that you have that need to be permanent. It would be a waste of time, right? Unless you kept leveling up and changing and morphing and shape-shifting. Nothing needs to be a permanent fixture within you. And this may be a sign to deprogram some old ideas. It's time to shapeshift. You chose these two cards as well, and one of them says endurance is the key to success. Endure, don't give up. You don't really have to tell a Leo that too many times. And here it says courage arrives when you step over fear. There may be something that you're fearful of, and I don't mean you're frightened of it. I mean that you're just afraid. You may be afraid to trade one thing in for another. You may be afraid to let things go, let one thing go. Something may have been instilled in you. You may be afraid. This could be because of this card, this could be shape-shifting a relationship you're in, right? Changing shape, changing priorities. And you may fear turning to this person because this person, there is one person in this relationship who is insecure. There is one person in this relationship who tries to manipulate. And it's not to say that they're a bad person. It's sort of a trauma response, or it's sort of a response to their insecurity. And like you could put that anywhere you need to put it. But the bottom line is there's courage arrives after you step over the fear of approaching this person and speaking to them. There's a communication that needs to take place here on the table. Now, as we move on, I think I'm going to do your, let's do your charms. You have the sword. Well, you have the sword here. And this sword represents Mercury. It represents clear thinking. It represents, it could represent war. It could represent you picking up a sword and defending yourself, right? Not literally, but figuratively. It could represent a discussion that needs to take place with that mercurial energy, right? You have the snake here, and it's kind of cool because it's upside down. I'm not going to say in reverse. Very few of these charms are read in reverse, right? But it is upside down. So inside, you may be trying to shed a skin, or buried deep inside you, you have a need to I want to say level up, but I don't know if that's the right word. You have the need to change shape, to change your life, to change the dynamic of a relationship. Ironically enough, we have entered the year of the snake in Chinese astrology. And it's a very important year as far as, especially if you're a dragon. Dragons and snakes are very closely related, and you could have a very lucky year, but there seems to be some shape shifting that needs to take place. You have the owl here, and the owl here is in reverse. I have to stop saying that. Upside down, right? And the owl is a guide to inner wisdom through change. There's a change that needs to take place in order for you to be successful this year. You have the 3 rings here. And these are witches' ruins. And the 3 rings are agreements, commitments that you've made. It's Virgo Chiron energy, very earthy. And it's a new plan, right? Let's create a new plan together. You have these initials R, K as in Kelly, and U as in university. And these letters could be someone's initials. It could be a city, it could be a building, it could be a school, it could be a day of the week. Well, it's not going to be a day of the week, but it could be literally anything. You have to really approach these letters with an open mind. It could be a place that you go to with this person, a restaurant name. So you have to really keep an open mind. But these letters should be kept somewhere close to you if you don't want to come back. And see how they pan out by the end of March here. Let's look at your astrology. Now you have new moon in Pisces here, and it says meditate and contemplate. Meditate and contemplate. Meditation is key. It's very important for you to go inward and find that inner wisdom, because all the wisdom you need here, Leo, is really inside you already. It just needs to be communicated. It needs to be communicated to you and from you. And it does pay to mention that the new moon in Pisces was on February 28th. So we're definitely still feeling the remnants of that. It's introspection time, right? That Piscean energy. It's taking stock of what you have, what you want, and how to change the game board on how to get from A to B, from start to finish. Now, Venus. You have Venus energy, and this is number 16 in this deck. And as we know, Venus governs love, and it also governs our career, our money path. So both of those things could be on the table here. Maybe one thing is affecting the other, or it could just be one of those things. But when we look at Venus, there's some things going on. On March 1st, we have Venus retrograde in Aries, and that's wouldn't surprise me if that's part of why that sword is there. Yeah, it's not. It's for several weeks, and for several weeks, has us feeling the heat as anger, impulsivity can show, right? Even the most loving relationships can be stressed at this time. This retrograde puts us in war mode. We did mention war during one of these cards too, right? Warlike. It puts us in war mode, and it sort of gives us a ready mindset for arguments. So keep that in mind. It's definitely it's going to envelop a lot of March. Now, what's great is that on March 27th, we have Venus retrograde it enters Pisces, right? So after weeks of spar-like energy, that intensity, Venus moves back into gentle Pisces, right? Prompting us back into our minds, into our inwards, looking for that internal guidance. The only caveat here is that the only thing that may happen to at least some of you is that it may unearth some old pain with exes, broken hearts, your shadow self. But either way, it sort of goes with the rest of the cards that inward, you need to go inward and shapeshift a part of your life. Now, also on March 27th, we have Venus conjunct Neptune in Pisces, right? And that would be the perfect day, Leo, to plan something romantic. If you've had a stressful couple of weeks with someone, and you want to sort of reset, that's the day to plan a surprise outing or a surprise staying in, whatever it is that your significant other enjoys. But that is a very romantic, heady type, beautiful energy. So take full advantage of that. Here with these cards, you have Pisces again in the fourth house. This is family, roots, foundation. I would say this is very close to this card right here. Now, when we look at Pisces in the fourth house, right, where it is at the base of our natal chart, it lies our fourth house, right? Represents home, family, ancestry, origins, values that are passed down here, including traditional customs from your heritage, generational beliefs. It's a foundation from your early life, and it sets the tone as you develop and evolve and shape shift into your adult self. It leaves a lasting impact on all of us, for better or for worse. The fourth house can contain some karmic obligations and blessings bestowed by family traditions. Now, this house also defines your sense of home and what you surround yourself with to be safe. That is the home card. What is it that you consider home? Where do you consider home? Who do you consider home? It definitely, it pays, Leo, to really look at those questions this month. Here you have moon void. Of course, it says disconnect, withdrawal, reception. So here you have the opposite, right? It's kind of like there's two energies here this month, right? And the moon void, of course, occurs when a transiting moon makes its last major aspect to another body before moving from one sign to another. It's the space of the moon itself entering the void, right? And since the moon enters all 12 of the signs every 27 days, the moon void, of course, happens every 2 to 3 days, occurring several times a week. It's felt collectively, right? It's in the air. It's restlessness. It's lack of focus. During this time, it's best to involve yourself in receptive pastimes like meditation, like going inward, like journaling, if that's what you do, right? By restoring yourself during this time, you're kind of brewing energy that you can infuse into your manifestations when the moon goes direct. So let yourself rest in that way and recharge Let it happen regularly. Now, let's get going with your tarot. See if I could move this. Okay, move this over a little bit. All right, so on your first leg here, you have club, and it says someone will try to make you do something against your will. It's kind of like what we talked about up here, right? So you have the club here coming in sideways. And the reason it's sideways, Leo, is because I don't think you like it much, and I don't think you're going to comply, and I think you're going to bump heads with someone. There's someone that's going to try to sort of manipulate you in some way, and I think you're going to catch it, and I don't think it's going to be, because of this Mars energy in March, you might not like it much. I mean, to put it simply. And here now, these particular cards from here to here are from a different deck than these, and these cards have their own zodiac aspects to them. It's very different from regular tarot cards. And sometimes it matches, but most of the time it doesn't. So that's just a sort of a warning, especially with this first card. We have the King of Swords, and the King of Swords is usually Sun in Aquarius, but in this particular deck, it is straight up Gemini. No Sun in Gemini, nothing like that, just Gemini energy. Now, interesting that, it's coming in sideways, right? Someone is pushing your buttons, right? We spoke about this, right? At the beginning of March in your astrology section. So, and this is the beginning of March, right? So this card coming in sideways can symbolize someone testing your patience and you making a decision on whether to approach this as the King of Swords, upright or reversed. Very different energy, right? Upright, he is level-headed, balanced, very logical, clear thinking. In reverse, he could have an explosive temper. He could have a sharp tongue. He could be impatient. He could be nasty. It's coming in sideways. Some of you are going to choose one way or the other, but this is a decision you're going to have to make. But there is someone sort of pushing your buttons here. And the very next card also coming in sideways is the Five of Pentacles. And this is another decision card. My cards that come in sideways are always decisions, things that you're going to contemplate. Now, the Five of Pentacles in this deck is Venus and Taurus energy. The card of being isolated, alone, or coming in sideways, that a choice. Someone's bringing out the beast in you here, right? That you may want to go at it alone. You may be having problems. I mean, this could represent money problems, fighting about money problems. It could very well be. Arguing about future, arguing about that shape-shifting, arguing about the speed at which something's happening. And what I like here, Leo, is that it leads right into this justice energy. And this comes up in your readings a lot, right? This balancing. And normally this is Libran energy, but in this deck, all the major arcana have no astrological correspondence. So it's just something that I had to get used to using these particular cards. But you do have Libra, and you do have those scales of justice here. And that's how your first leg ends. And that is really healthy. As much as someone's trying to push your buttons, balance wins, right? Justice wins. So maybe you get your justice, or maybe you just find that balance, right? And I like that for you. Now, what's interesting is when we add this up and we break it down, we get 11. And 11 is the bridge number, right? It's bridging from one thing to another. It could be looked at as shape-shifting because it is a cardinal number, and it is the initiator, right? It is something that starts something new. So you may be pushing and pulling towards someone here, but I like the way this first leg ends for you, Leo. Now on leg 2, you have pig. And it says, beware of greed. Now, this could be, once again, I'm just going to say someone, because this could be you or the person you're dealing with. I think in many cases, this might be the person you're dealing with, but nothing is true all the time. So some of you may be feeling this. There is someone feeling a certain amount of greed towards your time, your energy, your attention. And there is a certain sort of, you have to temper that. You either have to temper that within you or within someone else. There's somebody that needs a sort of adjustment here, because here you have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. And this is straight up earth energy, and even in this deck. The Ace of Pentacles in reverse, there is an imbalance, right? Because the Ace of Pentacles upright, it asks us to sort of put our attention to the path that we're walking. Is your heart and mind and physical spirit working together in harmony? Meditate on it. and like it said in your oracle, and then integrate whatever download you receive. It's really important because there is a non with this pig, with this greed, with somebody trying to hold on to somebody in such a way, there is a sort of, this is very ungrounded energy. But what I like about this, okay, I'm going to put this right here for now. What I like about this is the very center card in your reading is the Eight of Wands, and that is the center. That is what all this stuff revolves around. And this is really good because the Eight of Wands is fire energy. You're comfortable with it, but more, this is Jupiter and Sagittarius. But after all the cards we just mentioned at the center of your reading, you have movement in a good direction, right? This is not in reverse. This is not a time to ponder anymore. This is not a time to go inward anymore. It's a time of action. You're in your element here, right? You have the fiery wands, very nice energy. And this leads into these two cards. Now, you have the Prince of Wands and Judgment. Now, the Prince of Wands, as you can see, there is a lion clearly on here. But, you know, the Prince of Wands in this deck just represents fire energy, okay? Hold on one second. So sorry. That was another fire sign trying to get through to me here. Prince of Wands, right? And straight up fire energy, even though there is a lion there on the card. He has the gift, the Prince of Wands has the gift of vision, intuition, along with all that excitement that fire brings, right? It represents the inner child in you. In this case, the fire child that existed when you were born. He is connected, and he could be a she, to the Ace of Wands in this deck. And the Ace of Wands is that fire wand, right? That implementation, the creator of something exciting. This prince carries an under element, an undertone of earth. Fire brings forth passion and action, and earth adds that grounding force that we were missing here. It's energized by, earth is energized by fire. Fire is guided by earth. So that's a very nice balance for you. Now you also have Judgment that came out with it. And in this deck, like I said, the major arcana in this deck do not have astrological associations. Now the Judgment card here, the prince and the movement that came before this card guides you to a higher level of awareness. It resurrects you into a new way of thinking. It shape shifts you. You are, there are two kinds of judgment, right? There's self-judgment and then there's judgment of others. One elevates you and levels you up, and the other brings you down. It's very negative, right? Very difficult to break out of that negative judgmental thing, but you should, if that's where you find yourself. For many of you, this is that introspective energy that we talked about over and over again in this reading. I do think that you are accomplishing something here. And what's fascinating is that when we add this up and we break it down, we get the number 11 again. You are shape-shifting. You're definitely, I am going to shut this phone off because it's driving me crazy. I'm so sorry. Just going to shut it off. Now, you're definitely shape-shifting and bridging to something, and you're creating something brand new here, and it's very exciting energy. Okay, on your third leg here, you have candle coming in sideways, and it says you will be shown the way. And for those of you who seek the truth and the wisdom that's inside you already, will be shown the way. But because it's coming in sideways, just like all these other sideways cards, it's choice for each Leo out there. If you want to know the truth, if you want what is in, or it's already there, it's already inside you. If you choose to look for it, it's there for the taking, and you'll be shown the way. The first card here on your last leg is the Hermit. Wow. And there, my friend, is your owl, the one that came out in your charms. The Hermit is usually Virgo energy in this deck, because it has no astrological correspondence, but it does, if you notice, he is carrying the star of Aquarius inside him, and he is trying to see the way forward. He has the wisdom of the owl, and we discussed that the owl is the guidance within you. He's making his way ahead very slowly, because as you can see, it's nighttime. He's lifting his lantern. He may only be able to see a few feet in front of him, but he's still making progress, right? He's almost going on faith. So it's a very sort of faith-based energy, faith in yourself, faith in spirit, faith in God, whatever it is you believe in. Now here you have another sideways cards coming in, in this deck anyway, the Queen of Wands, she is straight up Leo energy. And as you can see clearly, there is a lion right there. Now for her to be coming in sideways, you have a choice to make again. From this introspective energy, she opens an inherent wisdom, the inherent wisdom we talked about over and over again. It's inside you already. Her energy is fiery and magical. She symbolizes manifestation ability, spiritual potential. This is this is a choice you're going to have to make. And it's coming straight from something that you have learned by going inward. By meditating, by praying, whatever it is you do to go inward. You have here at the end of the, you have the 10 of Cups here in reverse. And, you know, the 10 of Cups in reverse is Pluto in Pisces energy. You are having issues with someone, right? You could be having conflict with someone. You may have the need for communication. Time for reassessing the relationship. And I'm not saying it's time to figure out whether you want to leave. It's just time to figure out whether the two of you want to shape this into something that has long-term potential and have a real plan, how to get from here to here. The plan can change. Whatever plan you had last year doesn't have to stand. New things could have happened. You could have went inward and discovered things, and you need to share them. It's like a sort of communicative, but there is someone here that's not happy, either because your attention is elsewhere or perhaps their attention is elsewhere, depending on where you fit in this reading, or the introspection you're doing is making you want to change the plan, make it better somehow. Maybe they just don't want to do what it is you want to do. Dog's quiet. So we have, when we add this up and we break it down, we have Pluto energy, Scorpion energy again. And it's helping people. What Pluto does is it helps people face things that they don't readily want to face, right? Release limiting beliefs, embrace change. Shapeshift is the key word for this whole reading, okay? Now with challenges, you have the wishbone, and the wishbone's coming in sideways. You have a lot of sideways cards. And the wishbone, it does say a wish will be granted. The wish could be granted, depending on how you handle this and what choices you make. It seems as though you might have to stand up for yourself. It seems as though you might have to stand up for yourself. So let's see. You have, and here you go, you have the 5 of Swords in reverse, and that's good energy because you can see on this side, it's a kind of very depressing card. But on this side, it's like she's still holding her sword, but the sun's coming up. It looks better. It looks like there's promise. Like there's arguing that took place, and there's something really good that can come of it. If the two of you come to the realization that something needs to change a little bit, it just does, right? Because there is something that needs balancing, and there is something that needs change, okay? Now you have, believe it or not, in the same column here, the Hermit again. And in this deck, he is Virgo energy, but it's the same card that was in your last leg. So that introspective stuff that you're doing could be a challenge to a situation in your life. And if that's not you, then the introspective energy that someone else is doing could be a challenge in your life. But there is a challenge here. A challenge doesn't mean it's insurmountable. A challenge just means it might feel challenging, okay? And what I like about this, especially this particular deck, is you have the 9 of Pentacles. The 9 of Pentacles is usually a very independent card, independent goals, doing things for myself, being successful. But in this deck, you see, it's 2 people, right? It is 2 people sharing the wealth, 2 people sharing the rewards. It's stability. It's Venus and Virgo energy, but it's very, very romantic, but it's also goal-oriented because it's Pentacle energy. And I like that for you. There is a wish here on the table. There is goals here on the table that just needs to be approached differently. And you guys need to get on the same page with it. That's all, okay? When we add this up and we break it down, it's not really surprising that we get Mercury, right? It's associated with thinking and communicating. It's time to communicate, to turn this wish card this way, okay? Now let's look at your opportunities. You have here the table, and the table says hard work ahead. Once again, a sideways card. Does it have to be hard? No, it really doesn't. It's really depending upon who's involved in this relationship and how stubborn they actually are. Now you have these cards here in your opportunity section. You have the 10. I love this. You have the 10 of Wands reversed. Now look at the 10 of Wands on this side. It's a whole lot of stress leading nowhere. But on this side, it doesn't look easy. It looks like it's work, but man, it's work for a reason, and it's happy and it's pleasant. And it's like, yeah, this is work, but man, this is getting me somewhere. Right? Nobody really minds work as long as they're getting something really positive out of it. And that's in your opportunities pile. Now, the next card is the 5 of Pentacles reversed. Now, look at this card not reversed. It's dark, it's gloomy. It's the 5 of Pentacles has come out twice in your reading. And in your opportunity section, it is in reverse. You have the opportunity to turn this around, to be the lighter side of this particular card. The 5 of Pentacles is Mercury and Taurus. An opportunity to release that lack mentality, or a release of isolation, or overcoming issues, or just simply overcoming issues. You have here the 8 of Cups. I like this too, because you're walking away, but you're not walking away from the relationship. You're walking away from what no longer suits you. Or maybe you're both walking away from what no longer suits the relationship. It's Saturn and Pisces energy, right? You're walking away from something oppressive. Could be a mindset. Could be a problem within a relationship that kept recurring. It could be a situation that you somehow found a solution for. When we add this up and we break it down, you're not going to believe it, but we get Mercury again. The solution to your problems is communicating clearly and receiving clear communication, and someone sort of releasing that tight grip, whether it's you or your person. Really nice energy. Let's look at your Nordic deck, and then we will look at your numbers. Let me give this a quick shuffle. For Leo for March 2025, please. So you have chosen Mani, unresolved emotions. I'm pretty sure, in fact, I am sure that it was either Aquarius or it was Sagittarius that pulled this card. It's unresolved emotions, right? There were cults, right? A little bit of a history here. There were cults that worshipped Mani in pagan times, right? There were rings of stone that have been found in Europe with moonstone in the middle, because he's very related to the moon and emotions and going inward. He can be called upon for telling and measuring time. He could also be called with matters of the heart. And he's not one to solve matters of the heart, but he is one to recognize that the heart wants what it wants. And definitely time is of the essence here. He stands for time. It is time. It is definitely time for change. It is also, time is both your friend and not your friend. So you need to, there is time. I'm finding it difficult to speak. You need to shapeshift, either you, your partner, or both of you. The relationship as a whole needs to shapeshift in order to move on from this moment in time. I don't know if that makes sense to you here, Leo, but yeah, unresolved. There's something unresolved here. And like I said, I don't think this is a great card. Now, if you got the Tower, or you got, something really negative, or the devil, I would say, this relationship is toxic as fuck and you really shouldn't be in it. But that's not what I'm getting. I'm just getting that you're experiencing speed bumps that need to be resolved in order for you to move on from this phase, because it seems like there's time on the table. You're stuck in a phase that goes round and round and round. And there's someone that's insecure that needs to sort of find their bearings and trust the process, if that makes sense. Okay, let's look at your numbers. Now we add up everything in this reading and we break it down. We get the number 10, which is Pluto. You can't make this up, right? The planet of, it's time to level everything. So Pluto comes in when we have left something on the stove too long, and it's time to either, stir it and change its shape or throw it out. So it's sort of time. It's time to accept the change that needs to take place. The number that we mention the most is number 5, which is Mercury, right? It's time to communicate. It's time to exchange thoughts between you and your person. Your lucky numbers are 4, 16, 11, 5, 13, and 10. The planet that we mention the most is really not surprising, is Pluto, for all the reasons we said. Now, the signs that we talked about are Taurus, Aries, Sagittarius, Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, Aquarius, Leo, and Scorpio. The one sign that came out the most, believe it or not, was Virgo, and that's not surprising because it is Mercury energy, right? You have the Hermit twice. So I hope you enjoyed your reading, and I will see you next time. Namaste.